Hey everybody, welcome to Real Talk. How are you today?
Wonderful.
Yay.
Doing well.
Doing good, doing good. Okay, so this is I believe episode 5 of Real Talk, and we're going to talk a little bit today about fake relationships. Our the context for club is going to be Disney, and we all kind of know, like in Disney, there's some fake relationships. But for the sake of club, we we're going to have it themed as Disney. But remember, it's not just princesses. So Disney has now bought out Star Wars and Pixar and Marvel. So lots of different things. So
Ooh,
well, if you're watching this, come dressed up Thursday in some sort of Disney character. But look it up. There's a lot of characters that you can be. Some might surprise you. But for today on Real Talk, we're going to talk a little bit about fake relationships. And I know we're thinking kind of back in the day a little bit, maybe on some of these old cartoon Disney movie characters. So, um, you guys tell me, what's one of the worst ones you've seen?
Cinderella.
Cinderella.
They know each other for about 10 minutes and then they're going like, "Ah, I love you."
That's
hey,
pretty
Snow
rough.
White's pretty
Yeah.
creepy too.
That's
Oh, that's
true.
creepy, yeah.
Sure.
The first interaction is a kiss
Yeah.
Well, she's sleeping.
while she's dead.
Yep, it's weird. We don't promote.
uh, I've talked about this before. I'm gonna go with Pocahontas. Despite the real representation of the fake Christianity, which did exist in old world England, um, the fact that they just jump over cultural lines, um, and there's no issues, and it just happens because they're all singing in the colors of the wind and whatnot, and around the river bend or whatever you want to say. It just there needs to be some difficult conversation in there, and some real conversation, and instead they just kind of like gloss over it and like, I love you, and then all is okay. Yay.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that
you're
kind of not the same thing, but happens there in Frozen 1 too, doesn't it? With Anna and that other ninth in line for Prince. I can't remember his name. Hans. Is it
Yeah.
Hans?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they finish each other's.
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Sandwiches.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, it's love,
See
right?
what you
It's
did there.
love.
I've always called that the sandwich song, just for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So there's a lot of fake, you know, relationships that happen in Disney movies, and of course, all right, Mike, Jay, Chelsea, Riley, we're talking about movies, right? These are movies, and so is that super realistic, like in life right now? Parts of it, I would say, are, you
Hmm.
meet a guy online, and a girl online, and then you start falling. You never even met him, just these different things. It's really hard to um, quantify that with a Disney movie, but there are some parallels. So
Yeah.
if you guys could dig into that a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll jump right in on that one. So there is a parallel with the Pocahontas thing because we do go into relationships and never address real issues that we have between our past, our current lives, the way we grew up, and how different it is from the person that we get together with, and fall in love with, and we never address those real issues. And then when they come to the surface while we're married, we lash out in anger, instead of having that real conversation and realizing that it's okay if we have differences, but we have to talk about them, we have to deal with them, we have to have truthful, real conversations about them, to understand our deep parts of each other rather than just the surface level joy we feel right when we get together. um, and when you learn to do that and take it slow and take your time and be patient with each other and learn grace and forgiveness through that process, which is what true love is really all about, is self-sacrifice and humility. And you know, it's going to cost you something. You're not always going to be happy when you're really in love. You're going to go through that valley, those trials, and you're going to come out on the other side stronger. And the trials last more than a 2-second arrow fight and a trip on a sailboat to England. You know, they just do. I'm sorry, but it's more
Jay,
difficult than that.
But Jay, when you get together, you know, just like in Disney, it's happily ever after, no matter what.
Yeah, well, it can be if you focus on the other person,
Oh,
not yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and then, ladies, is there a specific relationship that is more important than any other relationship?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
My relationship with God is and will always trump my relationship with anybody else. That's just, he's always been there for me, and he's always going to be there for me. And it says in the Bible that there will be no marriage. So we'll all be one big happy family when we're in heaven. And so yeah, God trumps all.
Yeah, plus not only does it trump all the relationships, but it's what all of our relationships are pointing back to. My relationship with God defines who I am, and that's one of my biggest issues with the way culture describes romantic relationships, is that it's usually, and again, they're movies and it's fun, I get it, but they usually point to stereotypically the woman changing a lot about herself to meet the needs of the guy. And I just can't find scripture that backs that up. Like, my identity in God is set. Like, he tells me who I am. And when I live that out in fullness, man, I hope that attracts a man who's also living out their full identity in God. But needing to change or needing to fake it to make someone desire you, that's just not biblical. We don't have to do that. Like, God defines us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's really good. That's a really good point, you guys. That the relationship with God is not fake unless we make it fake. You know, it's still a two-way street. Like, he's gonna watch out, he's gonna be there for us, but we have to be part of that relationship too. We have to reciprocate that, you know. I mean, no matter what, he's gonna be there for us, but if we don't reciprocate, then life becomes a lot harder for us. And relationship, being in, you know, it's like having a best friend, right? You know, if you're sitting at your home and you never call your best friend, you never talk to them, you never go visit them, but they're always trying to come and meet with you and do things with you, is that relationship gonna last?
Nope.
And I
Every
think
relationship we got to work on.
Yeah. In our relationship with God, should look similar to our relationship with our spouse. Not completely similar, because God's number one, but there is this, like Jay was saying, there's some sacrifice, you know, there's some, giving up things that maybe you want to do all the time, but your spouse doesn't want to do it all the time. You know, there's give and take. And I think Jesus gave his life for us. And so we should model that and be able to say, you know what, if I can't watch 6 hours of TV every day, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably healthy too, not to do that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think
6 hours.
I think our main point is to maybe not just Disney movies, but, you know, movies and TV shows in general. Like, as we look at the different relationships that we see to be very careful on how they're portrayed. Is that always something that we should follow after in our relationships with others, what we see on TV and in movies and stuff like that? No, we've got to be careful on that, and to really look at our relationship with Jesus, and that should be what our focus should be on, and then everything else will pretty much take care of itself. We're still working on things, but if our relationship with God and Jesus is good, that helps everything else out so much. So,
Yeah.
any final thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I'm gonna not make this a rant, but I'm gonna do it as quick as possible. There's a Disney movie that's like a closet Christian movie, and I don't even think the producers meant it to be this way, but I did a sermon series with this movie. First of all, there's no enemy, like no villain in this movie, but it shows us that our true enemy is ourself, and that we have to deal with our own emotions and grow through them. And the movie is Inside Out.
Okay.
Because she deals with pride, she deals with fear, she deals with anxiety, she deals with all these emotions when joy is the prevalent light inside of this young lady, and it's joy that brings her back to the light and brings her back to her family and her father and mother. And so it's got these family values, and it's got a character, a part of her that has to sacrifice itself, and excuse the weird name, Bing Bong, to save her. She had to sacrifice her old self to bring her new self to light through joy. And I could go on and on about it. Like I said, I did a whole sermon series on it. I can even send you the notes if you want, guys. But it's just the movie. It can be a Christian movie. She tried to run away from the joy, and when she did, she lost it. She broke down and realized that her mourning of her spirit is what caused her to grow. Her sadness brought her closer to pure joy because she had to go through that trial to realize how much she needed it. Oh man, man,
Love it.
Yeah.
rewatch it with
That's
that
awesome.
context.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
rewatch it with that context. It'll blow your mind.
And that personal identity
Yeah,
affected all the relationships she had.
right.
I can't emphasize that enough to students, guys, that that really matters. And it really does matter, even though these are movies and we can joke and laugh because they're silly and they're songs and it's not realistic. Let's be honest with ourselves, though. That's where we do get a lot of pushed ideas about who we are,
Yeah,
what relationships look like, including, I mean, movies and music even. Just what we're told about who we should be. We really, like Mike said, like we've all been saying, just really encourage you guys to really filter what you're hearing and what you're seeing through the lens of truth and joy,
yeah.
because it really does impact the way we live our lives. And my dog agrees.
Yeah.
Go Oliver.
Have you guys all seen Inside Out? Has everybody
Yeah.
here seen it?
Yep.
Do you, Riley, I have to ask you this personal question because she has your name, the girl in the movie. Do you picture that teenage boy she has a crush on with a beard and a white robe? Because it could be Jesus saying, I would die for Riley.
Yeah, that movie was really personal. I actually didn't want to watch it at first because the whole movie was like, Riley's dealing with her interpersonal battle. And I'm like, I get that in my own life. Like, I don't need to watch that. Thanks, though.
Oh my goodness. So hey guys, let's just wrap this up. Everybody just remember, you find your joy, right? And your joy starts with Jesus and the relationship that you can have with him, okay? Thanks Jay and Riley and Chelsea. I'm Mike, and this was Real Talk episode 5. We were talking about relationships and Disney and Inside Out and joy, and it was fun. Thanks you guys so much. We'll see you next time.